We continually are showing you some great values coming in from Alvarez. Today is no different. We're excited to show you this, the MD70 Herringbone. Great guitar, huge value. Stick around. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee.
And I'm Cooper. Every month is Truck Month, Greenberg.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're here with Alamo Music in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, you turn on notifications, like our videos. If you want to support the channel, you can visit our spring store link below for custom swag and check out our podcast, the Fretboard Confessional, wherever you get your podcasts. If you've been watching this channel for any period of time, you may have seen a video years ago where I dunked on Cooper over our truck brands. I can't do that anymore.
Ford man now.
He's joined the fold. You know, not everyone's perfect, but he's getting closer every day. So
Ford Focus 2024.
Yeah, if you got one of those, I can tell you that you'll probably die on the road home because the transmission went out. Every time I see a Focus, I'm like, just waiting for the transmission to go out.
Don't alienate the base.
If you know, you know. No. So anyways, today we've got another good value. It's not an F-150, but it's a cool guitar from Alvarez. It's the MD70, no E.
No E.
Herringbone.
No need for any.
No E, yeah. It's a great guitar. Highlights right off the top. All solid wood construction. Coming in right at about $1,000 with a gig bag. Very well put together. Sounds fantastic. It's got a lot of what I would consider higher end features at this price point. Makes it, honestly, kind of making it difficult for some other manufacturers when they're doing stuff like this.
Yeah, I want to peel back the curtain a little bit. Do you remember, no names to be mentioned, a conversation we had with some folks that worked for a popular manufacturer that were planning out their newly imported acoustic guitars? Do you remember this? And they were asking us what kind of features that we think make a difference. Mm-hmm. This guitar has pretty much all those that we were talking about, and it's about $500 or $600 less than those guitars were. Mm-hmm. And I think that I had a really interesting conversation on the phone yesterday with a fella that was naming a lot of big brands. And then he said, but after watching some of y'all's videos, I've narrowed it down to the Alvarez and the Fert. And I'm liking hearing that more and more because these are really, really good. The Ferts are really, really good. But there's a lot of times it's like you could get something very similar to this from another brand, but it's going to cost you more. And it might not play as great right out of the box. But this is a all-solid Spruce Rosewood Dreadnought with pretty much everything you need. If you want a pickup, you can get a pickup, but, you know, just for a straight-up acoustic guitar. All solid with gig bag, open-geared tuners. Are those ebony pins? Mm-hmm. Ebony pins. Really nice, like, subtle kind of look, kind of old school.
Yeah, it's understated. The herringbone's nice around the border and the sound hole.
This is like an HD MD70.
I like the shape of the pickguard on these. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You've got that bridge. Inside, it's forward shifted bracing. It's the FS6 bracing, I think. It's good bracing. It's good rosewood spruce combo. 1 3/4 inch nut.
25.5
inch scale length. Here's the thing on this that gets me is, you know, they could have just done pale white, you know, binding. It's ivory binding. It really has a classic look to it. But going back to, you know, you've got ebony bridge pins. Mm-hmm. They're not plastic bridge pins. The tuners are 21-to-1 ratio open gear tuners. You know, they could have gone, a lot of import guitars might have 14-to-1 or 18-to-1 at tops, you know. Why is that important? It's a more accurate tuning, you know, more fine-tuned adjustment that's available through there. And usually that is indicating that it's a good quality tuner. But, you know, even stuff like, so one of the problems with import guitars, I'm going to get my accordion out here. If you know, you know. One of the problems with import guitars is that everything can be good spec-wise, and then, like, the finish is really heavy. Like, that's a common thing. Yeah. The focus on things like that matter to those of us who have played a lot of guitars and know, you know, this is going to be more resonant is apparent because Alvarez is focusing on that stuff.
Yeah.
And so they're producing a really good guitar with a focus on the right materials, mm-hmm. you know, and at a really good price point.
Yeah. So we've talked a lot about the Laureate series recently, and this is not part of the Laureate series. I believe this is Masterworks, right? And if you look
Yeah,
through,
the Laureate series would all have the classic bridge.
yeah, so you can kind of see this is, if you look at the Laureate, kind of these old school leaning guitars that are also fantastic value, maybe a little bit more premium in the materials that they're using, but also a little bit more vintage leaning with their kind of bridge design, the aesthetic, and everything.
Yep.
This has got the Alvarez bridge, which mimics the Yairi direct coupled bridge, which I think is just a look that with the pickguard kind of gives you that Alvarez vibe, which I think a lot of people like.
It's been cool since the 90s and before.
Yeah. And I like how the fingerboard comes down kind of like that. It gives it the Tony Rice vibe a little bit, which we've both been really into. I just think it's a good looking guitar. Strangely enough, our boss, Zach, who does not really care that much about guitars, he either likes it or he doesn't. We're the guitar nerds. We were putting together our Alvarez order after all the NAMM stuff came out. And I was like, we got to get the Laureates. And Chris is like, we need these Yairis, all this stuff. And Zach was like, let's get the MD70. I like that guitar. I think it's cool. And I do think it's cool. Like, it's the type of thing that sort of stands the test of time. This is just a good Alvarez guitar. A lot of people that play Alvarez and like Alvarez have had them for years and years and years. That's just what they like. They stand up very well to a lot of playing and a lot of love. And I think that it sounds really good. And it sounds like how a Spruce Rosewood Dreadnought is supposed to be. Last thing, is that like a soft V? I love that too. That's a great feeling neck profile.
It's a very comfortable neck profile. And the setup is really good. You know, going back to the points on quality, paying attention to things like the nut and the fretwork and just the overall fit and finish on this guitar. It's top notch. It sounds good. And the price is great with a gig bag. So you should check it out because it sounds good. Let's take a listen. All right, so there you have it. So let's talk about where this guitar fits price-wise and in the greater market. And this is why I said at the beginning, I think this is maybe applying pressure on some manufacturers. We said this about Ferk too, right? Ferk's a European brand importing, consciously making a choice to make features available at a lower price point to a lot of American competitors. So not just American competitors, but if you look at imports from other manufacturers, whether they be from Mexico or they be coming in from China or wherever, finding something that's all solid wood is becoming more difficult under $1,500 or $2,000. And not only is this $1,000 cheaper than some of its competitors would be, regardless of where it's coming in from, you get a fit finish that's fantastic. You get a great sound. You get a gig bag with it, all at just over $1,000.
Yeah.
I mean, I think of there. I don't want to name names. Okay, you go look out on the internet. There's import guitars that are solid wood that don't sound or play as well as this guitar. They don't come with a gig bag, and they're $1,500.
Yeah,
solid wood made in China, yes, but they just don't match. Feature wise, there's parity. Price wise, this is a better value, and you get a gig bag with it. And from my experience with some of the stuff out there, this plays better and sounds better than some of those that tend to kind of be what I was saying before, overbuilt. That's the biggest thing, and I think it's probably a difficult thing. I think every manufacturer would love to get everything coming in, but it's a combination of time and maybe control in the factory.
Mm-hmm.
How much control do you have over your final product as you get it in? We know Chris over at Alvarez is kind of like fanatical about some of the things on these guitars, and it shows. So, yeah, very, very good guitar.
It's a great guitar.
Solid side bracing of rosewood. That's cool.
That is cool. The whole fingerboard is bound. Don't see that.
What's that meme? The inside of the guitar looks like an apartment I can't afford.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I think they're great. I think that Alvarez is killing it right now, and we have loved Laureate stuff. We love the IRE stuff, but even as you work down in price points, a lot of this stuff, this would kind of be the next step under the Laureate, but some of the Artist and Regent stuff been really good too. We've been, getting those in and selling them before we can really make videos on them. But for $400, for $600, $800, $1,000, you can find an Alvarez that I think hits the right marks and probably beats out competitors based on value.
So if you're looking for a new guitar, you're trying to hit a certain price point, and there's a lot of stuff out there to choose from, don't worry. It's one of the reasons we do these videos, but we also got your back. So if you want more information about this guitar or any of the other stuff, you want to try to sort through it all, go to our website, which is
alamomusic.com.
And you can see everything there, but you can chat with us. We can kind of help you make heads or tails about what's out there and find the right mix of price, options, feel, body shape. I have these conversations all the time. I know you do too. All day long, this is what we're helping people do, and it's fun. We love doing it. So reach out. Let us help you. But if you're decided, you're like, hey, I just want this, you can just buy it from us. That's cool too. Yeah, feel free. And if you're new to our channel, you know what you should do if you haven't done so already.
You should subscribe to the channel, turn your notifications on, like, comment, share.
And the next subscriber that does it gets this shirt. Just kidding.
Incorrect. They don't make this anymore. This is a Steely Dan. Every drink ever mentioned a Steely Dan song, and never parting with this one.
Limited edition. People either just love or hate Steely Dan.
Well, you know which way out.
There is no in between.
Yeah.
Anyways, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.